So, gaming's biggest night just wrapped, and wow, the Game Awards 2025 was one for the history books. We saw some absolutely massive reveals, incredibly emotional speeches, and one indie game that just completely stole the show. So let's break down all the key moments. The show's creator, Geoff Keighley, set a really emotional tone right from the very start. He opened up about his own personal losses this year, and then he shared this powerful sentiment, really driving home why these virtual worlds matter so much to so many people, especially when things feel a little unsteady. Okay, so here's what we're gonna cover. We'll start with the show itself, then we'll dive into the one game that absolutely dominated the awards. After that, we'll look at the flood of brand new announcements, uncover the massive trend that truly stole the show, and finally, break down what this all means for the future of gaming. The Game Awards has become this huge event, and it's kind of like two shows in one. It's one part an award show, honoring the best of the past year, and one part a crystal ball, giving us our first look at the blockbusters of tomorrow. But this year felt different. Right from the top of the show, it was pointed out that this was a historic night, and here's why. For the first time, half of the Game of the Year nominees came from independent studios. And that, right there, is a huge deal. As we're about to see, it became the defining story of the entire evening. And that theme of indie success wasn't just in the nominations, it completely dominated the awards. While a lot of amazing games were honored, the night truly belonged to one title that just went on an unbelievable run. The number you really need to remember from this night is 7. That is how many awards the French indie studio Sandfall Interactive took home for their debut RPG, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This was the most nominated game in the show's history. Just look at this list. They didn't just win in the indie categories, they swept the biggest awards of the entire night. I'm talking Best Narrative, Best Direction, and yeah, the big one, Game of the Year. It was just a stunning and a truly unprecedented victory. Wow. Of course, it wasn't a total shutout. Other incredible titles definitely had their moment. Supergiant's Hades 2 deservedly won Best Action, and HBO's The Last of Us took home Best Adaptation for its absolutely fantastic second season. All right, now for the other half of the show, and arguably the more exciting half, the future. The Game Awards is famous for its world premieres, and boy did they deliver this year with over 20 brand new game announcements. The reveals covered a lot of ground, but they pretty much broke down into 3 awesome categories. The return of some absolute legends, the birth of brand new worlds, and a few wild surprises straight from Hollywood. So for fans of classic franchises, this was a huge night. We got our first look at Star Wars: Fate of the Old Republic, a new chapter in that beloved saga. We also saw the return of Lara Croft with a new Tomb Raider, and a sequel to the mind-bending thriller, Control. It wasn't just about sequels, though. Last year's Game of the Year winner, Larian Studios, revealed their next massive RPG, Divinity: The Hellstone. And get this, J.J. Abrams' own game studio, Bad Robot Games, debuted their new co-op shooter, 4Loop. And then, in a moment I don't think anyone saw coming, the entire star-studded cast of the new live-action Street Fighter movie took the stage. The crowd just went wild when Jason Momoa himself was revealed as Blanca. What a fun, totally unexpected moment. But okay, beyond any single award or any flashy reveal, let's get back to the real story of the night. And that was the absolute, undeniable triumph of independent games. This was the headline of the 2025 Game Awards. Yeah, this chart right here, it says it all. For the very first time ever, the nominees for Game of the Year were split right down the middle, 50-50, between massive AAA studios and small independent teams. This is a monumental shift for the industry, you guys. It proves that great ideas are not tied to a 9-figure budget. And this feeling was just perfectly captured by the team from Sandfall Interactive. In one of their many acceptance speeches, they dedicated their win not just to their own team, but to every small studio out there striving to bring a unique vision to life. It was a beautiful moment. So, what's the big picture here? What's the real takeaway from all of this? What did the awards and the reveals from this year's show really tell us about the state of gaming? Well, we're witnessing a phenomenon you could call indie ascension. This is that moment where independent games are no longer just a niche category. Nope, they are on the main stage, competing for, and winning, the highest honors in the entire industry. This right here gets to the heart of it. The 2025 Game Awards proved that those lines between indie and AAA are blurring, maybe even disappearing.
A masterpiece can come from a team of 4 or a team of 400. At the end of the day, it's the passion, the vision, and the creativity that truly define a game of the year.
And that leaves us with one last, really fascinating question to think about. Now that indies have proven they can compete at the absolute highest level, how will the big blockbuster studios respond? What does the future of gaming even look like when the best ideas can truly come from anywhere?